Geek Week in Review.
Hello, hello, and welcome to the Geek Week in Review with me, Jacobs Toys, and of course the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. We're live. We're live for the first time ever.
Wow.
We decided to go live. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. We're going to have people. We're not going to have people. Who knows? But you know, we're used to recording our shows anyway. So let's just do what we normally do and just enjoy it. If you are watching live, then obviously jump in and chat away. Hello, Jack. Thank you very much. Yeah, jump in, chat away, and we'll do our best to obviously interact with you as well. If you're watching us on a recording, then drop stuff in the comments and all the rest of it. But we're just going to do what we normally do. We're going to talk about what's happened in the week because at the end of the day, this is the Geek Week in Review. So we are going to talk about She-Hulk. We are going to talk about Andor, and we're obviously going to talk about Hasbro Pulse Con. Hasbro Pulse Con 2022, which we were both a part of last year, weren't we?
We were. It was so weird.
It was fun this time watching. But yeah, so we'll get in and we'll talk about that. And I think we should start off though, just talking about something that dropped in the middle of the week, just totally unexpectedly, which was from Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
A massive teaser.
It was such a weird, like, just random. The drop, it just made no sense, but it was awesome. But it was so random.
I was not expecting it. No, I was not expecting it at all. Like, there's been talk of, you know, for anyone that hasn't seen it, basically Ryan Reynolds announced that Deadpool 3 is coming 2024, and Hugh Jackman's going to return as Wolverine. And that was huge because they've been joking about it and they've been teasing it for years. And we finally get Deadpool in the MCU and Hugh Jackman's going to return as Wolverine, which is really cool.
But when that video dropped and we sort of saw it, and did you expect Hugh Jackman at the end? Because I just expected it to be Ryan Reynolds just sort of teasing us that Deadpool is coming kind of thing and just not giving anything else. But then when Hugh walked in the background, so I didn't recognize him straight away. It wasn't until he said is his name, and it was like twit that penny dropped.
Oh yeah, it was totally unexpected. And then they did the follow-up video the next day, didn't they? Which kind of
part Hugh.
Yeah, part Hugh.
It's called part Hugh.
Like, I did a very quick TikTok, I think it was, that I just was like, this is amazing. And I just basically in a TikTok, she probably saw it, Sorrel, but I just said, this is going to be amazing. The marketing for this film is going to be incredible. And someone commented on it, right? And was like, oh man, anything to hate on the MCU. And I was like, dude, like behind me is all my MCU posts, figures. And I was like, come on, man. Like, I'm not hating on the MCU. I'm just stating the obvious that the marketing campaign alone for this film is going to be incredible.
Can you imagine if they actually never dropped a proper trailer and it was just them two doing this the entire build-up? So that you literally knew nothing about the film going in. All you knew is Deadpool and Wolverine. That's all you're going to know. Just going to cinema blind. That would be amazing.
Oh, I know. It'd be amazing. Just quickly, let's just say there's loads of people dropping in comments saying hello and welcome to the first live and all that kind of stuff. So we will get to you guys. And when we start talking about the reveals and stuff, we'll definitely jump into the comments a lot more. But we do appreciate everyone that's tuned in for this first show. And obviously everyone that's tuned in for this, 68 weeks now. So it's mad.
That's mad.
Only took us 68 weeks to go live, but hey. Yeah, just back to Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. One thing that I do wonder is to what extent is Hugh Jackman actually going to be in this film? Because the marketing for this, they're both in it the whole time, sort of thing. But it might be just a small cameo.
If it was, people would riot. I think this is definitely the buddy movie you'd be wanting. This is, I think Ryan Reynolds wouldn't do it if it was just Hugh Jackman's gonna have a 10-minute cameo. Plus, why would Hugh Jackman spend he's already said that he's going back to his old lifting regime and eating right. And so he's getting jacked again to play him.
Yeah.
So he's not going to do that for a slight cameo. I think he's in the movie, full stop. I think that's it. And this could potentially, because we're going into Secret Wars. where they could draw from other multiverses quite easily. And
Yeah.
the rumor mill is already buzzing that like Ian McKellen as Magneto might be in that film. So I mean,
that'd be quite cool
to see Hugh Jackman and Ian McKellen one more time, sort of donning the outfits, and then as long as like after Secret Wars, it's done with kind of thing. They're both been retired, or whatever. That'll be better. But yeah, I definitely think they need to keep him around a little bit because obviously his introduction to the MCU is going to be massive.
Yeah, and it doesn't interfere. It doesn't interfere with any recasting or new guys coming in to play Wolverine. I think this is going to be like a separate universe. Maybe I don't know how they're going to do it, but it'll be cool. And it's what we've wanted, so I'm really excited. But anyway, enough about Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
Did you see Hocus Pocus yet?
No.
No.
You know what? We sat down to watch it the day it came out, and. Yeah, we sat down to watch it on the day it came out, and one thing after another, it kind of, X, Y, and Z happened. And then my missus had a get together the next day, and we just put it off. So I want to give it my full attention. So no spoilers here.
It's definitely worth your full attention. I will say this: I'm not going to give any spoilers because not a lot of people watched it yet. But it's a sequel. But if your kids have not seen the original, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter one bit. Yeah, it's its own film. It's its own film. It does its own thing. It doesn't try to replicate the original. It's its own thing, and that I'm glad they did that because it makes it a good movie. I really like it. There's a lot of critics hating it right now, saying it was someone called it a spellbinding disaster or something by IGN. I'm like, you watched the same film as me? Like that film was awesome. It seems to be anyone that's like the '90s kids that grew up with Hocus Pocus are loving it, and it's all the younger kids that are kind of like, I didn't really like that. It's like, well, it's a cheesy 90s movie. Yeah. It's not made to be taken seriously.
But speaking of that as well, I saw a tease that they're doing Sister Act 3 as well. Did you see that?
Really?
Yeah, and but Bette Midler's in that, supposedly.
Yeah, she is.
So it's, it's all retro, isn't it? Right, what should we do? Should we get TV talk out the way before we go on
TV talk out the way? Stuff? Yeah.
Cool. She-Hulk. So let's talk about She-Hulk. What episode was we on this week?
Was it like 8 or something?
Was it episode 8?
Something like that,
isn't it? First live show. This is usually where we go, right, hang on, let's just check. But yeah, whichever one it was, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. We went back to see the retreat, didn't we? That Abomination's on. And we got introduced to a load of new characters, or not new characters, but random characters.
It's episode 7. We've got 2 more to go.
Okay. Yeah, it was just a bit of a filler, I think.
It was a filler, but I thoroughly enjoyed the stupidity of it. Like seeing like Ram Man and was it called Ram Man? Yeah, Ram Man.
Yeah, or Bull.
That's
Bull
He-Man, isn't it?
Ram Man.
Bull Man.
No, Ram Man is
from He-Man. I'm sure.
He's the one with the.
But yeah, seeing all those silly characters that like introduced, I thought that was quite funny. And obviously the guy who thinks he's a vampire and things like that. I enjoyed the silliness of it, to be honest.
Porcupine was in there, and they put the guy from Wrecking Crew as well, which I found a bit bizarre because he was like they've kind of disbanded that already. But yeah, I want to know what's kind of going on in the background. I called it the whole thing about
that guy.
I called it about the boyfriend and everything. It was just set up too well, wasn't it? But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's silly, it's stupid. I saw something online as well, basically saying that that they had copied the fundamental kind of outline of another show because she breaks the fourth wall. And I was like, have you not read any of the comics? Have you not watched Deadpool? Like, Marvel has been breaking the fourth wall for years. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm really excited to see where it goes. But I think we called it last week, wasn't it, where we say that Daredevil is going to be a real flash in the pan kind of last minute thing.
What did you think to my Nikki Ramos being either one of the witches of Salem or being actually Agatha, like changed form?
Yeah. I think
there's that one scene where the girl says the girl who's with her when they're looking on the computer, she says, "Why don't people just leave her alone to live her life?" And she just looks straight up, bang into the camera with this evil glare, and then looks away very quickly. It's not until you catch that. And she's wearing a pendant necklace with all pentagrams on it. and then her earrings are the exact same design as the one that Agatha wore around her, like a brooch. So,
I mean, it's feasible. It's definitely feasible.
When they went to see the guy who makes the costume as well, it was his comment of, "Oh, is the hair convention in town?" And she just sort of smiles and laughs it off, like very awkwardly.
Yeah,
obviously hag witch.
Definitely possible, and I think there's 100% going to be a couple of underlying sort of themes or tones to this show, because it has just been silly and fun. So I think that there's definitely something else cooking in the background. So yeah,
somebody else pointed out to me that Agatha in the comics has a son called Nick, and obviously this character has been introduced as Nikki.
Ah, okay.
So there could be a link there now as well.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's. We're just conscious of moving through the TV quick, because we have got lots to talk about when it comes to Hasbro. So let's talk about Andor for a second. You know, Andor was episode 4.
4. Yeah, we had 3 to begin with. This was the first standalone week.
Yeah,
we got Mon Mothma.
I don't hate it at all. I'm enjoying it. But it's
we've got the guy from the MCU that helped Thor. We've got him, and then we've got Mon Mothma.
Yep. Yeah. I think that, like we said last week, my problem is there's too many actors that I know from other properties in it. It breaks the illusion for me. But as far as the writing goes, and as far as the kind of the on the ground thing of that show goes, like it's a cool show, and I'm glad that they're able to do something with Star Wars that isn't lightsabers and Jedi. It's
they managed to get in there about the sort of the shop that he's sort of running as a front. He's selling items from the Chandrilla, which is like one of the homeworlds, I believe. It's like one of the big cities, a core planet. And is where Mon Mothma comes from. And that is the Chandrilla is what the line of merchandising is called in Galaxy's Edge. It's stuff from Chandrilla.
Cool.
So they've managed to fit like a little reference into sort of like the merch lines in the parks and things from the Chandrilla line.
That's cool.
I like that.
Andy's just put in the comments about Smallville. I just had to pick up on that because I absolutely loved Smallville at the time. When it was out, Smallville was my show. Like, without a doubt, it was my show. Yeah. Oh, what's pops up there? Rich. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I don't know why that's come out. That comment's come up, but it's because we had to talk about it. That's why.
That's the thing, though. For me, the problem I'm finding with Andor, because I know in Rogue One he's going to die, I don't feel any connection to this character, or I don't really care about him because I know he's going to die anyway. So what's the point? It feels like this is a proper filler series that doesn't do anything. But that's just me.
Decided to turn up. We have to announce. we have to kind of address the elephant in the room. As you can probably tell, we fired Ryan last week. So we didn't. He'll be back. Ryan's got a couple of engagements. One this week, one next week. But on that note, hello Ryan. Thanks for tuning in. But on that note, we potentially have a very special guest next week for our second live show. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but it is. You'll definitely know who they are. So we'll just hold that thought. But yeah, Ryan, how you doing, buddy? But yeah, Andor, I'm enjoying it. I like it. I don't hate it, and that to me is a positive. No, we weren't gonna roast you there, Andy.
All I can tell is that since we've changed to this new streaming system and my webcam's looking a lot better, I need to fill in these shelves now because it looks very bare up here now. Before you can only see this part of the screen. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sort. This is all like my working area. Like here, I've got is where I do my photography and my customs and stuff like that. And I've got a bit too much of that on show. I've got Deadpool and Wolverine out as well because I was doing some photos of them. But yeah, I'm gonna have to sort this out a little bit. But anyway. So that's pretty much our television talk. Let's get on and talk about Hasbro Pulse Con. So Hasbro Pulse Con. Oh, Ryan's just commented saying my replacement will be starting soon. Back to the meal now. No, we haven't got a replacement for you yet, Ryan. We haven't. Yeah. So anyway, back to Hasbro. This is hard doing it, knowing that people are watching it live and I can't edit out these comments. Yeah, Hasbro Pulse Con. So it's a 2-day event, broadcast over YouTube with a lineup of various different brands throughout the day. And for us guys over here in the UK, it was quite late in the day that it kind of kicked off.
Yeah.
And
I'm just going to say though. Sorry, go on.
Go on.
I was going to say. I just want to say that Few did a really good job with that pre-show. He got basically handed an hour of time and just got told to fill it, and he was just on a green screen on his own with a camera, and he couldn't see people's comments, I don't believe, or anything. He would just have to talk for an hour straight in a room on his own with a camera. That must have been hard. Yeah, I don't think I could have done that.
No, he did really well with that, and it was good.
And he kept his energy levels up all the way through as well.
Yeah, seeing a bit of UK representation as well involved in Hasbro Pulse. Because as we said, last year they did the fan wall, and there was loads of us like from all over the place. But there was no sort of like, they didn't specify who we were or where we'd come from or what we did. Like, you could just see us in the background. So it was really cool to sort of see him announced and him have that whole pre-show bit. But they switched it around this year. So last year, Star Wars ended day 1 and Marvel ended day 2. And this year they switched it around and Star Wars had that final segment on day 2.
Did you not find the ending? Because obviously Star Wars, there wasn't a lot to really talk about. I thought they should have ended on Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones was quite exciting.
Yeah.
There were a lot to talk about with Indy, and then the ending of the show felt quite flat.
It was a little bit. It really was a little bit. Many pre-orders were placed. So Stephen said there, many pre-orders were placed, had to get those Indiana figures, made a very loud whoop when they were announced. They are definitely a good one. I hate to admit it, but I missed out on the Indy figures. By the time I got on to...
Yeah, I don't pre-order, so you guys know I no longer pre-order. I buy as it comes into stock, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get my hands on these Indy when they drop. I don't think there will be any stock. I think they're pre-sold out already.
Annoyingly, the show was taking place at bedtimes for my kids, so I was kind of watching it on my phone in between and picking up where we were sending pictures to each other and stuff of the figures, not like weird pictures. We were sending pictures of the figures to each other and stuff when we were seeing what dropped and that. And I just, by the time it got onto the pre-order inside of it, I went on there and I was kind of like, oh no, I've missed it. Oh well, it's like, whatever.
I like the idea that it's a build an artifact rather than build a figure. Although after Raiders, what other artifacts are big enough to build?
No,
like the crystal skull's tiny. You know what I mean? Like all the rest of them are all tiny objects, like handheld objects.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where they would go with that.
Rich has said as well here. I can only see the Indiana Jones figures selling, not the other characters. I don't know. I kind of agree. I think the reason that they've done these kind of build an artifact, or at least for this wave, is to encourage you pre-ordering all the figures or purchasing all the figures. I don't know. I was happy to see him.
I said, does nobody want the Major with the melty face? Nobody want that?
I thought he was really cool, but I don't know. It's a difficult one because for me, when it was kind of like Ghostbusters when they announced that they were doing Ghostbusters, I was kind of like, yes, this is it. This is what I wanted. And then they kind of released them, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I need all the figures of these films from years ago that I haven't had any property of since, if that makes sense. Like, at least with Star Wars and Marvel, it's been quite consistent. Starting with a new film, I don't know how well it's going to do. I think the Indiana Jones figures will sell 100%. They will, go in, go out. Oh look, we got a nice little image. Nice one, Zora. I don't know. It's really difficult to call it. And they're very reminiscent of Black Series, like the articulation on them and stuff.
Well, yeah, It's the same team. It was the guy that did the Rancor. It's Patrick, and it was the main three guys of Marvel. Because obviously, of Star Wars. Because obviously they just changed shirts and went to the Star Wars panel straight after it.
I must admit,
which will look very weird.
No hate towards any of the teams. I think, at the end of the day, in this climate and whatever, doing that kind of job is commendable. But yeah, as soon as I saw it as those three, I was like, oh, did they learn nothing from the Rancor? Don't throw Indy into a pit of snakes. Come on.
As soon as he came on, as soon as I heard his voice, like, hey, howdy, hey, it's me, Patrick. Like, oh no.
But I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure he's a great guy. But the one thing that I can say about him, though, is that they did seem very excited about this brand and this new line, which is what you want, really, from the team behind it.
I'm very happy that they didn't just use a Han Solo head, because they could have very easily just used a Han Solo head and shoved it on a new body. But I'm glad they didn't. They got a brand new sculpt. It actually looks like Indy, not Han Solo. Yeah.
I don't know. The jury's out on it. I'd love to pick up an Indiana Jones figure. And if I can get it, then we'll get onto it. Talking about the Selfie Series, there's comments about the Selfie Series. We will get to the Selfie Series a little bit later. Gotcha. We're not going to talk about everything that they showed. We're only going to talk about Indiana Jones, G.I. Joe, Marvel, Star Wars. Was there another one? Power Rangers. And Selfie Series as well. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
I was going to say one more thing on the indie thing. Do you think they messed up a little bit with the roleplay item? Obviously, they've done the Staff of Ra headpiece.
If there's one roleplay item to do with Indiana Jones, like surely it's a whip or a hat, like or even.
I know they couldn't do the whip, but
what's it called? The
idol. I was going to say the monkey idol.
Yeah,
the monkey idol with light up red eyes and everything.
Yeah,
I thought that would have been a perfect thing, but.
Yeah, give it a bag of sand as well, and then you could do the whole kind of But yeah, it wasn't one. It was only when they showed the video I had to think about where it was. Like, obviously I knew it after seeing it, but when they announced it, I was expecting so many other things. I was kind of oh right, yeah, okay, it's that bit. But yeah, it should have been the idol. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool line. I'm excited for it. I'm, as people of our kind of generation, to have really decent articulated figures of these films in the past is great. And they did a retro figure as well. They did a retro figure for all those retros. Did you see Steve Evans' Instagram?
No.
So his original retro, that's where the mold came from. he did a post. He did a post showing his original one in the cabinet and was like, "This is where we got the mold from." So it is true. It's a true to likeness mold of the original Indiana Jones retro figure, which is really cool. Which is a really cool little tidbit. But he did that with the Star Wars as well.
What you like is, because I know you're going to Paris soon. Obviously, I'm going to Florida in January. You go away, I think February, May. Do you? No,
April.
March?
April. I'm going.
April.
January, February, March, April.
I'm saving all the months.
You get there eventually.
I know in the parks right now they've done a massive indie push at the minute because of the new film, and they've dropped a boatload of new merch that's like park exclusive, and some of them, like, you can get the monkey idol and stuff. Some of that, like, the items look brilliant. Some of them.
Did you watch the live show in Florida? Did you go and see the live show?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite shows there. That bit with the ball at the end, it's just such a good show. Yeah, I loved it. Right, so Indiana Jones. We kind of jumped straight into Indiana Jones. Which one do you want to talk about next?
Which we can go for G.I. Joe next if you want.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
I think they were close to being the show stealers, to be honest with you.
They were, and they produce some brilliant looking figures. And those pipeline ones that they've got coming, the ones that they're rolling digital renders, they look so good. Like Rock and Roll's coming, and he's one of my favorites. He looks absolutely awesome.
Was it this week or was it last week where the whole UK Pulse exclusive happened? Was that this week, or did we talk about that last week?
Well, we did talk about it last week. But as we're live, we may as well sort of discuss it again. But they didn't mention it on the live streams on Hasbro Pulse Con. They didn't even mention it.
No.
But yeah, supposedly, and apparently it's 2023 onwards, from what I've been told. From 2023, they'll all be taken in house basically. So in the UK and Europe, we'll have to buy them direct from Hasbro. You won't be able to get them from independents. Although people like Kapow and In Demand have both said that they will continue to get import stock anyway. So I'm still going to represent In Demand and the guys that have kept us going all these years.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's where a lot of them came from originally. Yeah, I just thought that the G.I. Joe figures were really class looking. Every single one of them, and we're starting to see repetition now. So like Outback we've had already, but we had him in his Tiger Force originally. So it's kind of a
do you not
different.
know? Because like I know with Marvel, when they do the reprints, if you will, or whatever to call them, they're the same character just redecoed. Whereas these ones are actually completely new figures, more or less. The look at least. Like I'm looking at my thing, it looks completely different.
Yeah,
the costume.
Yeah,
they look different enough to warrant a new figure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
I mean,
totally
Outback's
agree.
just going to be my Chuck Norris custom going forward.
Oh, it is. It's 100% a Chuck Norris figure, isn't it? I was just like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, whoa, Chuck.
That's a Walker's Texas Ranger if I've ever seen one.
But yeah, I don't know. There's something I really like about a G.I. Joe line, and I'm kind of I've got a bit of taste in my mouth because of the announcement of it being all in house with Hasbro. It sort of came at the same time where I've had the G.I. Joe figures kind of come in and out, and I've been picking up the odd one here and there, but then I was like, actually, this is a line I think I'm going to get into. And then they made that announcement, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah.
But then the pull-out characters like CoverGirl and stuff, and she just looks top. She top. For me, she looks awesome.
CoverGirl was my favorite one, and she's such a basic-looking figure, really, when you actually think about it. But she was definitely my favorite.
I said when I did my sort of like overview video when I was talking about it, and I even said on that, like, it, because of the attire she's wearing, it wouldn't look out of place. If you were to stand her with like, if it was an era appropriate weapon in her hands, if you were to stand her next to Indiana Jones, she would look like like a cameo from one of the films. If you stood her with the Guardians, she'd look right there. If you stood her with Star Wars, she'd look right. She would fit anywhere because of the genericness of the costume.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And that's why I picked up, what's she called? Lady Jane, is it? Or
Lady Jane.
Lady Jane. I picked her up. She was like on discount or whatever, but she's so generic looking that she works in so many different situations and different contexts and stuff. So yeah, I just think that the G.I. Joe line is brilliant. I really do. And I think that it's only going to go from strength to strength. And they announced you got to forgive me, I don't know the name of him, but the big serpent guy on the.
Yeah, I'm not into that one. I don't know his name.
If anyone knows his name, drop it in the comments. But it's their kind of deluxe rider item, isn't it? And
see, when it comes to G.I. Joe, I tend to skip those ones. The ones that are a bit too, like some of the ones that look a bit like the Viper Commanders and all these, like them ones I tend to skip. I tend to go for the like proper marine looking ones, like the proper soldier ones.
Yeah.
Because I've said before, I don't see them as G.I. Joes. I see them as like extra characters for
Thank you, Andy.
For things and stuff. Serpentor, that's the one.
There you go. Thank you very much, mate. But yeah, I'm very much the same. I like them for military figures because I think we were talking in the week, weren't we? And like you can put them in photos with Predators and they look in place. You can put them, like you said, you can put them in any of the other properties and they kind of work, especially with things like Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of them work and double up as like Ravengers and stuff. So that's definitely all good. But yeah, I'm excited. It's a shame that they're moving to Pulse exclusive, but as we said last week, this could be a positive as much as it's a negative. Like you don't know what they're going to do with it. They might make it cheaper. They might. Who knows?
Some people were already jumping down the thing of it's going to be rubbish and we're not going to be able to get them. I don't see that if they're taking all the stock in house, surely they can command it better and we might get better distribution. Hopefully, maybe that's the reason. I don't know, but
yeah. Interesting as well. Like we're talking about pre-orders, and Richard said the concept of pre-orders is still a pain in the. Thanks for not swearing in the comments. Although this is a grown-up show, it's a pain in the ass. Let's be honest. Like, but I do agree with you, and you know, like Sorrell has the principle of not pre-ordering anymore. But I remember the days before pre-orders were really big, and it was kind of like stuff would be announced and it would go on the sites and it would sit on the sites, and then you'd kind of log on and go, oh, actually, I want this one. And then I think it was around kind of just before COVID hit where pre-orders really went mad because everyone was just jumping on them as soon as they go. And it is annoying. It is a pain because if you're after that one figure, take Indiana Jones, for example, if really all you wanted out of PulseCon was an Indiana Jones figure, and you couldn't get on to Pulse until later on in the evening, you miss your chance. But hopefully with Pulse now being in Europe and in the UK and obviously the US, hopefully the distribution of stock's going to be a lot better. So, you know,
hopefully.
Who knows? So there we go. So G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe is a definite good one. Yeah, I'm very excited for what's to come. And I wonder if they'll do another HasLab because the His tank went down well. Are we going to see something else like?
Oh, they'll definitely do something. I mean, I'd love for them to do. I know it'd be hard to do it in 6-inch, but what was I can't remember the name of it now. I've said it off now. The name of the giant ass ship they made.
Oh yeah.
It was like everyone's grail.
Yeah, I am no good with the names. The names of G.I. Joe, good guys and bad guys. And then there's the snake guys as well. that's how I knew them as a kid. So I'm not very good with the names of that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows which direction it's going to go in? What are we looking at?
So I was going to say, moving on. Power Rangers was probably the next one to talk about. I don't know about you, but I'm not really big into the Beast Morphers Dino Charge, so I didn't really know who they were. But obviously, we're getting these bad boys coming, which are the Street Fighter crossover.
Yes.
This is the Cammy one, and this is one of the renders that we got sent through from Hasbro, and that just looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I want that. That's Cammy, and it looks like Cammy. You can tell who the Street Fighter characters are underneath, which I like. I just wish it came with an unmasked head. I wish it came with an unmasked Cammy head.
Yeah, I mean it's odd that they didn't do that with these ones because I remember when they kind of announced the first two, and we were talking about whether there was going to be more in the line, and we were looking at the comic, weren't we, and sort of who else is, you know, morphed and stuff. So it's cool to see that they're doing more with these. But with that said, there was two, wasn't there? It was Ken and Cammy.
So there's the Ken one. So we've now got overall we've now got Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, and Cammy. Those are the four. So they're obviously good, and they're all coming single boxed. So there's no 2-packs. I wondering whether it was going to be a versus 2-pack, but it's not. So they're all single boxes.
Yeah. No, that's that. I'm the same. I'm glad that they're single boxes. Just quickly on the Power Rangers one though. So for anyone in the UK, you've got the Entertainer, haven't we? We've got the Entertainer. It's the toy shop. And they've done some mega sales like these last few weeks. And I've seen people posting about like the Hydra Stomper for like 15 quid or whatever.
Entertainer and TK Maxx have been doing it. They've got the same stock. There's another one. There's 3 shops basically.
Sports Direct, which obviously had Game and now Sports Direct.
Yeah.
But I went in there the other day. I was going past. I can't remember for what reason. I went in there and they had. I think I sent you a picture, and they had every single one of the Turtles crossover.
Yeah, I got them.
Yeah. Richard just said Indiana Jones is still in stock at Props and Replicas.
Ooh.
There you go. But they had every single one of those Turtles crossovers, so all 3 2-packs, and they were like 15 quid each. So you could essentially go in there and pick up the entire kind of wave or group of these Turtle Power Ranger crossovers for 45 quid, which is unheard of considering they're not
paid
that
20. Mine, I paid 22 a box, so I got them for like 60 odd quid. I got the whole set basically, and now I just need Shredder. But it was a bargain. And like Hydra Stompers are 15 quid. I mean, that thing was like 45 when it came out, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Not like that. Yeah, it was expensive.
It was a deluxe one. The Power Rangers. So I'm not hugely big on my Power Rangers anymore. I kind of dropped off of that one when I did the first couple of waves, and then I was like, nah, I don't need these guys. But there was a couple of cool announcements.
Yeah, I'm liking that they're doing more of the Boom Studio stuff. They've not just stopped at Turtles. They've gone on to do. Obviously, they did the Power Grid first. The Morphing Power Grid. They did that one. The Shattered Grid. Sorry, they did Shattered Grid. Then they've done the Turtles. Now they're moving into the Street Fighter one. I'm loving the fact that they're keeping that going and they're continuing that Boom Studios line.
Yeah.
Because the comic book Power Rangers are basically the only ones I'll ever collect. Really, I'm not going to probably get. Cause I'm not. After Mighty Morphin, I dropped off. I think I saw the Turbo movies as a kid, and that were it.
Yeah.
I was a Mighty Morphin guy through and through.
Yeah. I was the same.
Yeah, I mean, with the return of, is it called The Legend of the Black Tiger something? They've got, like, he's coming back, isn't he? Jason David Frank is doing a spin-off or something. He's doing something.
Oh, it's The White Dragon.
The White Dragon. So, yeah, I mean...
It's like a crowd-funded film.
I'm wondering, because you've got to think, that would sell. I would see Hasbro approaching them and saying, look, can we make an action figure of you? Because Tommy sells. Tommy always sells.
Yeah.
That's why they've done every version of him.
I met him at MCM Comic Con back in 2018. So yeah, it's my birthday's in October, and that's always falls around MCM Comic Con. And that particular year, I hadn't got tickets to go to get to Comic Con, and my missus had bought me the tickets and was just like, oh yeah, like there you go, can go tomorrow and whatnot. And my kids got me the meet and greet as like a gift, and I went down with my mate John that was on the show, and I kind of felt a little bit awkward because I was kind of like, I really want to meet him, but at the same token, I'm like in my late 30s and he's a bit older. And this is just a little bit weird. But then I joined the queue, and I was probably the least weird person there. Like there was like full-grown sort of 45-year-old men, like in full Green Ranger outfits, like queuing like to stand with him. And he's a good-looking bloke, and he was dressed really sharp. He was in a suit and that kind of stuff. And I just thought, man, that takes some real kind of like dedication to a character or something to dress up as the character and stand with the actor who's then not even dressed up as the character himself. Like I was just kind of like, yeah, and I just felt really. I have to dig out the picture because I got the photo up, but yeah, it wasn't quite as expensive as the Tom Hiddleston meet and greet the following year, but it was cool. It was cool to meet him. But the thing with them is they're so quick. Like you're in and you're out, and you don't really get any time to sort of say anything. So it was like, I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? He was like, yeah, I'm good. And I was like, okay, cool. and that was it. Like, thanks so much.
That's the thing. When I was so happy because I got to meet Jason Mewes, Jay and Silent Bob at London Comic Con a couple of years back when I got invited out to go to the Comic Con for Miss Mindy, she was called. It was like a Disney thing I did. Yeah. She's like one of the artists. I did that and I got invited down. Obviously, I spent the day there, so I was like, oh, I've got to meet Jason Mewes. So I got in line dead early. I sat on the floor and waited and all that. And then he spent like a good 5 minutes though. He refused to be rushed that day. He refused to be rushed. And cool. he were only charging a tenner. He were only charging a tenner for his autograph and a photo. It was dirt cheap. And like he didn't have a massive line either. But I often thought, right, because when you see him on TV and in Jay and Silent Bob and stuff, I genuinely thought, I bet he's dead subdued in real life. I bet he's nothing like that. No, he was literally Jason. He was Jason Mewes. He was literally Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. He's like, come here, man. And he was like turned up to 10. He was completely like out of his mind, like talking to us. It was
my favorite meet. While we're just on the subject of it, was JR Jr., like the artist, Marvel artist, just because he didn't have a cover, so he would do sign-ins and drawings and that kind of stuff, and he didn't charge. He just asked for a donation for the charity that he was raising money for, and he had this queue, such a long queue. And there were some people turning up with like wads of books like this and just getting like, and you could tell that he was kind of like, yeah, you're taking advantage a little bit here, but he was doing it all. But then for those of us that just had one or two books and genuinely wanted to talk and stuff, he was really putting in the time. And he did me a quick Batman sketch on one of my white covers and signed a handful of my favorite issues. And he was my favorite. He was definitely my favorite. Anyway, let's get back to Hasbro Pulse Con. So Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, Indiana Jones.
Where do you want to go? Do you want to go Star Wars or Marvel?
I've got more to say about Marvel, but
we'll leave them to the end then if you want. We'll go Star Wars.
Let's talk Star Wars then.
There was a lot to talk about, to be honest. Most of them we've had before. Let's be brutally honest. They're all repackages except Wicket. Wicket was the new one.
Yeah. But
I'm
even
looking
then,
forward to
it's
getting.
still an Ewok, isn't it? Like it's.
Yeah, but it's fine. We're finally getting Wicket. I mean,
Hmm.
I can't believe we're at Papalu first, and then we got another one, and now we're finally getting Wicket. Wicket's the one you want.
Yeah, it is odd that they left it that long to do a Wicket figure, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like you said, all the retro card backs they're all figures that we had before, slightly updated and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, the point I'm making about him just being an Ewok is that there's not a huge amount that's different, is there? An Ewok is an Ewok, like legs and arms and stuff like that. So it was just a bit of a shame that if they'd done him first, I think it would have got a bigger pop. But yeah, and then you had like Han Solo. You had Calrissian, Lando Calrissian. You had Leia.
So basically, what the annoying part is, the Han and the Leia are both from the box set that we had for the Endor Hero
last year. Was it last year or the year before?
Like a year ago, if not. It was during COVID anyway, because I remember picking it up during COVID.
Yeah.
And these figures are going to be $24.99, so at least they're not ridiculously overpriced. They could have charged a lot more for them. They're all standard price of $24.99, which I like. There's no scary prices on this range, so at least we can get that. Because I know a lot of people were wondering how they were going to price the card backs, but the standard $24.99. Obviously, we're getting all the Andor stuff, but I didn't see anything there that jumped out at me. I'm probably not going to bother with the Andor figures. I'm not really into the series that much.
No, but for me, the Star Wars figures, and this is totally my opinion, but when I had the Black Series figures, I enjoyed the Jedis, and I enjoyed the Sith, and because I could set them up in quite a dynamic kind of, it looks good on the shelf, But the like Resistance fighters and stuff, they were harder to, like, for me, it was kind of like I didn't, so many jackets all look the same, and it kind of all blended into one. So the Andor figures, like, it's a great show, and it'd be cool to get Andor figures, but to show the Comic-Con exclusive and then also show a single, really, I was like, I don't get it. Like,
you showed the Comic-Con exclusive and the repack instantly.
They were the same, right? They were pretty much the
identical.
Same figure.
Yeah, they're identical.
Why? Why are people going to buy
them? Because in the special box one, you get what's he called, B2 Emo.
Yeah, but that's like with
Emo.
With what's his name? Toto.
Yeah, Toto and
what's his name? Whose droid is it?
We're so bad with names.
No, in my head I've got Cal Kestis, but it's not Cal Kestis. It's why am I?
Mine's gone blank now because you've questioned it. My mind's gone blank.
It's the blue dude.
The cowboy.
He's my favourite Star Wars character, and I've gone completely blank.
Richard will pop up in comments in a minute. I'm sure someone will comment.
Cad Bane. I was like, I can't forget my favourite. But we had him, didn't we? And then they re-released him without his. There we go. Everyone's shouting Cad Bane in the comments now. I know. I got there. But yeah, and I really wanted that droid because at the time I was kind of on a bit of a droid fix, and I was like, I really want that, but I'm not paying for the box set just for the droid. And I don't know. The droid hasn't done enough in the show for me to warrant buying an exclusive set just for it. It's cool. It's cool to have another droid, and maybe if you're more of a hardcore Star Wars fan or a Star Wars collector, then maybe that's cool. But it seemed a little bit villain light as well. There wasn't that many kind of bad guys revealed, like in physical form.
We've obviously got all the Comic-Con exclusive, like they're all like we've got the rescue pack, but I don't really need another Grogu.
No. And then they released they revealed a couple of their pipeline reveals as well. So there's going to be an unmasked Darth Vader. I'm
looking forward to that, to be fair, because I've always watched. They did release that a while back, didn't they? Or something similar, like the blue outlined, like electrocuted version years ago. And I never got that one, so
I'm surprised they didn't work quicker to give us that busted mask Darth Vader in hand.
It seems to take a few years to get new stuff now from Hasbro. It's not like it used to be where we used to get them pretty quick. It seems like they do work to like they've already got things in the pipeline, so they have to wait till they've got them out of the way to put new stuff in. That's why we've waited nearly a year and a half for Book of Boba stuff to start coming out. Because all the pipeline reveals were all Book of Boba stuff.
Yeah, and they're doing an R2D2 as well, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool, because it's one of them ones that if you collect Black Series, you've got to have an R2 in your collection.
They need to do R2 because the current one he sells for stupid money. Money. So I'm glad they re-released it fair, because I'm missing him from my collection. I've got the one from I've got the I don't say Endor, what's it called? We've got the one from where he's all covered in muck and stuff from Yoda's planet.
Yeah. That's
Dagobah.
Yeah.
I've got the Dagobah one, but I haven't got like the squeaky clean white version.
I got a Bandai kit. Do you remember them Bandai kits that came out?
Yeah, they're a lot nicer.
Yeah, C-3PO and R2-D2, and it was a pain to put together. Don't get me wrong, like the craft knife and tweezers for all these little bits. But when it was completed and it was finished, it was a really nice figure. And the C-3PO was like actually metallic, and it looked much better. It wasn't quite as articulated as the Black Series, but yeah, I don't know. It just kind of left me a little bit meh. The Black Series one, I expected more. I just thought that it was going to be something big. The fact that it was the final panel of the final day, I just thought that they were really going to reveal something big. And
it's because they can only reveal so much, because in a couple of weeks it's New York Comic Con, and they always reveal at New York Comic Con. So,
well, that's the thing.
We've got another panel in a few weeks' time, haven't we? They're constantly revealing now.
Yeah, you've got New York and you've got MCM. And previously, they've already said that Hasbro's back at MCM this year. And previously, there's been like an MCM reveal as well. So we potentially got 2 more con reveals coming up.
Yeah, well, the MCM reveal that they gave us a little while back was obviously the card-backed. It's a trap. What do you call him?
Akbar.
Admiral Akbar. He was like a repainted version of Akbar that they're releasing.
Check me out with the names straight away.
But I mean, out of all the Star Wars stuff, there's only 2 out of the whole lot that I'm buying, which is really sad for me, because as you can tell from behind me, I'm the Star Wars guy. But I need Act Woves, obviously, to complete my Mandalorian lineup from the Mandalorian.
He was a good one, actually. Yeah, he was a cool looking one. I love the Mandalorian.
I need him and then Wicket for obvious reasons.
Fair enough.
Like my Endor. I like my little teddy bears. So
that's the sound clip of the show. I like my little teddy bears. Rich has commented again, just saying that no Jabba the Hutt playset for Black Series. That would be cool. That would have been really cool, especially after the throne room, because throne room was that was 6-inch scale, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, the throne room's 3 3/4 inch, isn't it?
Oh, so even if they'd done a Jabba the Hutt playset for 3 3/4 inch to kind of attach to the throne room, or
it's just because of the fact that the Black Series one now is so old and it costs so much to get hold of. Like, I dropped on lucky with the one I picked up, but some people are paying like £90 to £100 plus for Jabba the Hutt now. If you want in the San Diego one, it's like ridiculous money, like 150, 200.
Right, public service announcement. If you've learned nothing by Hasbro by now, 2 or 3 years ago, pay stupid money for these figures because they weren't being re-released. But nowadays, if there's something that's hot, it will be re-released. 100%, it will be re-released. There is a Jabba the Hutt in the making now. I guarantee you. There will be, and it will probably cost about £1,500. Like, the way their prices are going, or it'll be a HasLab project for like 300 quid. But
like everyone,
a Jabba.
Everyone keeps saying they'll never do Ula for obvious reasons, but the fact that they've just recently done Ayla Sakura, they're going to want to use that head again, and it's such an easy repaint for them to use.
It's a HasLab. It is a HasLab, without a doubt. Yeah. It is a HasLab. It is a way of reusing those bones that they were going to use in the Rancor. They could, but I guarantee it will be a HasLab, because then that's how they'll do Slave Leia, because for obvious reasons they're not able to at the moment. And they'll do those other characters that they can't put out by general release, because as a HasLab they can get away with it because it's crowdfunding. So I guarantee you, the next Black Series HasLab is going to be a Jabba. That's
Mhm.
my prediction now.
People keep saying this about Hasbro not being able to produce Slave Leia, but it was Hasbro that produced the first one.
No, I know, but I think it's something to do with the Disney and the tie-in with Disney or something now, isn't it?
I don't know. This is just what people have made up over the years. Disney have never officially said anything. Hasbro team have never officially said a thing, I don't think, as far as I'm aware of. I've never been able to find anything concrete. I just think it's one of the ones where people go, well, it's a bit risque, so they probably won't. But they renamed her recently because, like, she was known as Slave Leia for a long time, and then they recently renamed her to Hut Slayer Leia because they was going to do her as one of them like fan vote figures, weren't there? But Starkiller one, she was one of the options, and she was down as the Hut Slayer.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
there you go. I mean, people are putting in here. I mean, obviously in the Disney TV shows, they've shown a brothel and they can rename it and stuff like this. So the comments, you know, it's all very true, but it just seems odd that one of the most iconic kind of Star Wars outfits, because let's be honest, if you know, so many shows have kind of parried it, done a parody of it, or referenced it, whatever. So it's an instant win. Like if they did it, people are gonna buy it. So I don't know why they've held out unless they're planning on doing a HasLab with Jabba the Hutt, with even like the old school. Remember the old school toy with the like dropping gates?
Yeah, the dropping gates.
Something like that. Leia, Hula, like they'll just throw them all in, and it'll just be basically a HasLab of scantily clad like dressed women and like, you know, a big slug. And people will pay like £400 for it. But hey, yeah. But apart from that, I mean, there wasn't really anything. There wasn't anything. Yeah, it was just a shame, really. But I don't know what I was expecting. It was obviously all going to be Book of Boba and Andor. Like that's where it was going to go. I suppose maybe I hoped that there was something about like this, the new upcoming shows. So we've got like the what's the Jedi one called?
Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi. It would have been cool maybe to see some figures that we'd seen in the trailer, like a young Dooku or.
Oh, you're not going to get them for at least a year and a half. The kids stuff will be out before the Black Series get them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But maybe I just had high expectations. So yeah, so that was about it for Star Wars, wasn't it? Wasn't anything else massive?
There was nothing else massive. Then we went on to Marvel as the final one. And there's quite a lot released from Marvel, but quite a lot of controversy at the same time.
Marvel's had a rough. They've had a rough couple of weeks. Let's be perfectly honest with you. They have had a rough couple of weeks. HasLab project is still not doing well. We were gonna put pictures up while we were doing this, and we kind of forgot, haven't we? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People know what they've seen. But yeah, I just. Sorrell desperately. Let me get a picture of that slap. I'm
just looking at the backing numbers. I was just curious to see where we're at. It's like we normally do it each week. We do a little thing where we say where we're at.
It dropped massively, like massively dropped, and it's kind of leveled out. When I last checked, I think it was around the 5.5 mark.
So it's now on 5.472.
Yeah, it's kind of dipped around that 5.5 mark. And I don't want to speak too soon now. I mean, I did a couple of videos about my predictions and stuff like that. But if you think back to Galactus stayed really low numbers until right at the end, and then it just kind of skyrocketed through with that whole fear of missing out thing for people.
Yeah, I don't think this will work though.
There's too much. No. People are being really vocal, aren't they?
Yeah. There's too much negativity about this one. There was no real negativity about Galactus. People were just, because obviously we had the Sentinel, and people were so blown away with the amount of stuff that they got with the Sentinel, and the tiers were amazing, and we got loads of figures with it. It was cool. Whereas then Galactus came out, and one of them, I remember one of the big controversies was because one of the tiers was a face. So I mean, that was the biggest controversy we had out of that. I remember.
Yeah.
Because the knee and that came a lot later, didn't it?
Steven said there about the Robbie head and hoodie. You're right. They did kind of backtrack a little bit. Basically, for anyone that doesn't know, they released an early bird figure of Robbie Reyes. So if they hit the 9,000 backers within that first week, you were going to get an additional figure that was Robbie Reyes, which worked perfectly because you had a powered down car. So you had a powered down car, powered down character, powered up character, powered up version of the car. and then they didn't get really anywhere near that 9,000, and then they lost even more after that early bird offer was kind of gone. But then Hasbro did include the head sculpt and the hoodie, so you can now turn your Ghost Rider figure into the Robbie Reyes, which I don't know whether it's a bit of a backhanded. I don't know how I feel about it. It's not an additional figure, so that it has lost value, but at least they're kind of like, is it a good move? Is it a bad move? I don't know.
I think they were always doomed if they did, doomed if they didn't. To be honest, I think regardless of
Yeah.
what they've done, people would have moaned about it. I think personally they should have just put the figure in and just said, "Look, okay, we're sorry, we've heard you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to add Robbie Reyes. The early bird figure is now just part of the standard package." I think that might have gone down a little bit, but to then to sort of like go, "Okay, we've heard you. We'll give you a head."
I'm just surprised at the way they went about this. The way to have done it would have been to do vehicles all the way through, and
a box
just
set
kind
of bikes.
you know, there you go. That Rich said that throwing a bike as tier 1. I say, I completely agree. I think if they had done it as the car and the bike and even like the horse for like the caretaker figure and stuff, like they could have done this and really just totally kind of blown away the whole Ghost Rider kind of collection, and I think it would have got backed really quickly and people would have been really positive about it. But no, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the HasLab. And just talk about the Marvel panel. They didn't really talk about it. They didn't hype it up.
I think they firmly, after all the hate online, I think they just firmly stayed clear and didn't even chat about it.
And all they showed was a tease, which was like a brooch, and that's from obviously the Goblin Queen character, which is another risque figure. Which, you know, they always said that, or people kind of always talked about the fact that we didn't have that figure because of the way that she's dressed and Hasbro and all that kind of stuff. But how true that is, but they've included it in this. This is the next, or it's that's what we're assuming is the next tier. But Mephisto is 12,000 backers, and considering we're not even on 6, like you have to double the amount of backers that we've got already to even just get Mephisto. So, you know, they might be missing the target quite a lot. Might go up in flames. See my pun?
if they reveal, if they do Goblin Queen, then obviously from there, then they've got so many other options available with that costume. So many other characters they could use that body for very easily.
But I also find it odd that there's no, and they said from the beginning that the characters that they're going to include are going to be different. They're not going to be necessarily tied to Ghost Rider, but they're going to be like of the demonic
worlds.
Yeah, demonic thing. So yeah, I don't know whether that was a good marketing thing, because for the Sentinel and for Galactus, like Galactus in particular, having the heralds, unlock the heralds, was a real thing for people. So I don't know whether it would have made sense.
They should have, one of the tiers should definitely have been an updated caretaker, because everybody still uses the Toy Biz caretaker. If they'd given us an updated version of caretaker, that would have been
that's coming at some point. That's something that's coming. I mean, Steven said there, I don't get the hate over the HasLab, and Rich has commented the price, the concept, I think, of HasLab. I mean, that's where I think the issue is. I think what they've created, and I think that the offering is great. I think the price is overpriced, but it's it's a crowdfunded thing, so it's like, you know what, you look at it, it's the same as anything. Same as everything really when it comes to collecting. If you see something, you can still think it's cool but be overpriced, or you could still think that the price is good, but I don't understand why there's so much negativity. I think it's because a lot of people would like this in their collection but don't want to pay the price that it is, and that's totally understandable. But like, I'm the same. I'm like, I would love to have this in my collection. Like, if they want to send me one, I will quite happily put it, front and center in my collection. But would I pay £350 for that? No. Like, I could literally, like we were saying last week, like I could literally buy 3 of my children a bike for the price of a plastic car. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's for me not going to happen. But I'm not going to hate on anyone that is behind it. I would like to see it succeed because I would like to see it in the flesh. I'd like to see what people are going to do with it. But I don't know. I think if I wanted a large plastic vehicle, I would have already bought one because there are other vehicles on the market. But yeah, I'm not going to hate on anyone for getting it. But yeah, I was surprised that the HasLab team, the Hasbro team, just kind of glossed over it and didn't really talk about it. But anyway, so on to the actual reveals that they did.
Yeah.
So,
what did you think of the obviously they're taking a break of the X-Men VHS line to then start the Spider-Man VHS line, and we're going to get a Venom and a Carnage as the first releases. What do you think of that?
Well, no, it's a black suit Spider-Man.
Oh, is it Black Suit Spider-Man? Sorry, Black Suit Spider-Man.
Yeah. If it was Venom and Carnage, that would have been cool. But yeah, I don't know. I quite like the novelty of the X-Men box set, VHS box set, and I've got a few of them in my collection. To know that they're pushing that into another, I don't know.
Yeah. The thing is with the X-Men VHS tapes, the thing was those were like the VHS tapes you got as a kid. You know what I mean? So like they look nostalgic, and I don't remember seeing the Spider-Man VHS tapes that much as a kid.
The Spider-Man show was really hard to get on DVD and VHS like over here. It was on Fox Kids like all the time. But I think that they should have just stuck with X-Men. I think they should have just stuck with what they were doing and just kept giving, like, even things like Avalanche that we'll get onto in a minute that they announced could have been a VHS release because he was in the show. Like, they're heavily teasing Blob could have been a VHS, like, or VHS box set.
Did you see though when they lined up the VHS tapes how many of the hero tapes were facing that way, and there was only 2 villains facing the other way so far? Because they made an effort to show that on the camera.
Yeah.
So I counted there's 6 heroes but only 2 villains. So I think there's still 4 more villains to come in the future VHS waves.
I agree.
I'd like to level it out.
But yeah, to answer your question, I'm excited for the Spider-Man one, but at the same token, I'm only excited for new characters. Like, it'd be good if they give us a Smythe, for example, or in his kind of big, when he had those big things coming out of his shoulders, a Morbius, like an animated Morbius, an animated Punisher, like those characters.
An animated Blade, because he was iconic from that program. They redesigned him for the program, didn't they, with the spiked jacket and stuff. And then they kept that in the comics for a lot of years, that look. Yeah. So I mean, if they give us Morbius, Blade, Punisher, the characters that look different in the TV series, that could be a winner.
Yeah. But they've given us, like, teased already, Black Suit Spider-Man. Well, we've already got loads of Black Suit Spider-Man.
Daredevil as well. Daredevil with the black and red sort of cell-shaded suit. Oh.
That'd be cool. But we've already had Black Suit Spider-Man, and we've already had Carnage. Like, we've had multiple figures of those. So they're not something we need. So they need to be really special in order for me to kind of go, yeah, I need to get that. And what I did find odd is that they've already announced like an animated style Spider-Man on the retro card.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Did you think, because as soon as I saw that, I instantly thought, they've already released the Venom, haven't they, technically? Because that 2-toned Venom we got a while back, they could just literally repackage that and sell it as cartoon Venom and get away with it.
And you know what they'll do is they'll plug the holes that everyone complained about.
Yep.
That's what they'll do. They'll plug the holes. They've already done that on the box set that they're announcing, that Amazon box set. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would have liked the VHS line to have stayed kind of as a
X-Men thing.
Yeah, and they said they were taking a break on it. That's absolutely fine. Take a break on it and come back to it at a later date. So they announced also at the beginning was the Iron Man. I suppose we need to talk about that because the price tag on that is huge. Have you seen it?
I'm pulling up my product copy right now as we speak, so I can have a look.
$57.99.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is bad.
$57.99 for essentially, bearing in mind that you had War Machine, for example, he came out at
Yeah, it
what,
was
$24.99. It's essentially the same sized figure, and then the proton cannon. So you're literally charging like 30 odd quid for a big accessory. And I think when there's 3D customizers and that out there that are selling it for a lot less than that, it's difficult to justify that kind of price tag. 60 quid almost for a figure and a cannon. Like that's
The cannon's iconic to the video game, though, isn't it? To Capcom versus Marvel. That's
yeah,
where
yeah,
it came
yeah.
from.
Yeah, that's where I knew
And,
it from.
yeah, it's that big attack in it where it's just, but they didn't mention the game on camera, which I thought was quite funny because obviously they've got a deal with Capcom for Street Fighter. So
But
I
they didn't
mean,
mention
that
it.
just felt it felt weird that they sort of went that video game and then they didn't sort of name it. They just sort of said that video game where he has a special attack.
Yeah.
They either didn't know it.
No. And then the stream crashed as well. Like that was what
yeah.
probably the most pivotal part for me was when they announced that Daredevil 3-pack. And it crashed. And that was a shame. Like I completely missed that was announced until after I'd done a video and all that kind of stuff. But the Daredevil 3-pack, perfect, absolutely perfect. Like to get the white suited Elektra, which was back a couple of years ago. Do you remember the fan channel?
Yeah.
There was a fan channel vote, wasn't there? And she was one of them. There you go.
But they
The
said
big
back
hair
then they
as
wouldn't
well.
They did say though that they would then not use these ones going forward. They'd scrap them, and now they've obviously brought it back. But yeah,
You know, once upon a time, and I quoted this for quite some time, that it was one of the guys, and they said that they would never just repaint a figure. There would never be just a re-release repaint. There would always be something different about it.
yeah,
And I don't think that's the case anymore. I really don't. But yeah, they did say that, whoever it is that you pick is going to be you're not going to see the others. And the other one was Lady Sif, wasn't it? Like the A-Force Lady Sif. You had the white suit Elektra and you had Silk. And then we had Silk, and now they've repackaged her. They've redone her already. And it's like, hang on, that's the one we won. Like, give us the other one that we haven't had yet. But yeah, this white suited Elektra is brilliant. And I love the big hair, alternate head. Bullseye, yeah, okay, he's pretty much just a re-release with a slightly different costume. But he came out in that Netflix line.
he did.
It was, what was that, 2018, 17? And he's a really hard one to come by for some collectors. So I think that's a brilliant re-release. And yeah, Daredevil, a fully articulated. He's on the renew your vows body. Look at that. I've even got him. So he's like fully. Where is he? Fully articulated. Like, yeah, it's just he's got so much articulation. This body mold. So to have Daredevil on that is fantastic. And full disclaimer, I haven't got a red Daredevil in my collection anymore.
Wow.
Haven't actually got him. So he is one of the characters that I was 100% hoping they would re-release, and it wasn't going to be in some ridiculous. You have to buy a £350 car in order to get him. So articulation. But yeah, so I'm really pleased to that. But yeah, like someone said in the comments there, I saw it a minute ago. 80 quid for that 3-pack, or
77.99.
60 quid for the 80 quid for the 3-pack, or 60 quid for the Iron Man.
Yeah,
I think I know which one's going to sell more of. So that's a brilliant 3-pack. So that was definitely one of my favorite reveals of the show. And then we came back from the crash, and they had a Ghost Rider, a 3 3/4 inch Ghost Rider on a bike. Like literally, my stream loaded back up, and it was just the Ghost Rider. I was like, whoa! It's like, okay, cool. Which is really cool. It's really cool to sort of get a vehicle in that 3 3/4 inch line. But I also found it a little bit of an insult based on the fact that it's Ghost Rider's anniversary year, and they didn't give us a Ghost Rider on a bike as part of the HasLab. But then they did kind of go, oh, but you can have him in 3 3/4 inch. I've got both, so I was kind of like, okay, well, I'll get him. But yeah, it's cool. Looks like he's straight off the page, but I didn't pick up what the price point was for him.
He's not got a price point just yet. He's not even on the. It was just a pipeline thing. He's not even listed on the product copy that we got from the press release department. There's like
No,
no
he's
price.
not actually, is he? No, that's a really good point.
I've got no pictures for him or the Spider-Man stuff. They were just kind of like these what's coming in the future pipeline.
Yeah. No, that's very true. I hadn't even thought about
that. There were no more mentions on like the Ghost Rider card backs. There were like, so I was expecting a few more Ghost Rider reveals maybe or something on that card back. Nothing.
I wonder whether that's New York Comic Con. They're going to wait till HasLab's out the way and then throw a load of extra cards at us. But yeah, and then we went into, there was another pipeline reveal. It was Gamora, like Titan, Titan Gamora or Warrior Gamora, whatever they called her. But that was a weird one because I think they've had her done for quite some time. Because originally in What If, I don't know if you know this or not, but in the What If series, there was a Gamora and Iron Man episode that was put together, but they cut it, yeah. So I think they've had this figure prepped, and that's why it was really random. Like Dan said, and for our MCU fans, like here's a little tease of this, and that was it. And it was kind of like, oh, well, okay. But yeah, I'll be pleased to get her. But yeah, we had her. And then they went on to Orb as well.
Yeah.
Orb, which, you know, and if I remember correctly, his superpower is just being able to see things really, really good. Like that's like I'm pretty sure that was his power. Like there was a time when I think he got the Eye of Agamotto at some point. If you've got a character that's just a big eye head, you're going to give him the Eye of Agamotto at some point, aren't you? But I'm pretty sure his power is just being able to see really good. I'm pretty sure. And then we got Molecule Man as well, which was a good one. We've been after Molecule Man for a while. Really randomly, they dropped Moonstone as well, which is a figure that a lot of people have been calling out for. Moonstone, she's going to be double pinless. She's Walgreens exclusive. Happy days. It all just seemed very like there was no flow to it at this point. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, we've got this going on. We've got this going on. And then that's when they got into the kind of retro wave. And I think that's what we need to kind of talk about here. So the retro X-Men wave 2 or wave 3. And there was a lot of surprising reveals in this wave, I think.
Mm-hmm.
First one was Wolverine, the kind of the Uncanny X-Men 275 team suit Wolverine, which was really cool. It was really good to see that. And as soon as you saw Wolverine in that suit, you knew there are going to be more. Like, you know, in my head, I was thinking, how many characters can I swap the head out for here to build up the team? And then I realized that Wolverine was shorter, and I was like, oh no, they're all going to be slightly too short.
A little bit tiny here.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was that cool. They then went on and revealed Longshot, which to me was a massive kind of, I don't know, like a bit of a middle finger, I thought. Because
especially because they released Mojo recently as well as a single card. Now they've done Longshot as a single card. It's kind of like you don't need to buy the box set anymore.
No, but there was no mention of it. No mention of that Mojo. So that was leaked online by a few people. It actually turned up in Targets, I think, in the US. And people had them in hand, and they actually had them in hand and unboxed them and reviewed them and that stuff. But Hasbro didn't actually kind of announce that. And then they announced this Longshot and even said, we took on board the things that were said about the multi-pack one, and we've kind of improved this one with this, the logo's this color and the eye is this color and stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of cancelled pre-orders for that box set, but the paint applications are different. If that's your thing, Mojo, the paint applications are different. Longshot, the paint applications are different. And then obviously in the box set you get Dazzler as well. But yeah, I was kind of like, you know what, I don't need half a dozen long shots. I've waited long enough for one. I'll just pick up the retro one. Thank you very much.
This one looks more classic long shot to me, though.
Yeah.
Than the one that's in the box set. I like this single carded one.
I think this is a better. I think my personal preference is this one's a better one. And we've only seen the digital render of the other one so far.
Yeah.
Like we've not actually seen an in-hand picture of it, which I find really bizarre because it's shipping. So a lot of people that have ordered it, it's in transit already. So the physical figure is out there, but we've not actually seen an in-hand image of it, apart from those early product samples that they had. When was that? San Diego Comic Con,
Yeah.
maybe. So then after Long Shot, they went on to Multiple Man. Multiple Man's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean he's one that we've been looking for his green costume for a while. There's a lot of customizers out there that have done the green version based on the trench coat version that we got last time. So it's cool to see him in his kind of classic outfit, if you like. But I just find what I find really odd with Multiple Man is he would be a really obvious box set, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like
He would.
put three of these guys in
Armor
one
builder.
box set. Don't give us additional heads because we've not got a body to put it on. But if you put two or three of these in a box set, that's an instant sell. People are not going to complain about buying multiple versions of this. And what I always found is when they put additional heads in with these figures, if you do pick up another one, you're still left with extra heads. And it's like, oh, I've got an extra head. I need to get another figure. I've got another figure. Oh, I've got an extra head. Like it's like a a never-ending sort of cycle. So then after, yeah, exactly. After Multiple Man, I think the biggest kind of like gasp moment was when they announced Dark Phoenix. Did not see this one coming. Not gonna lie, it's a figure that a lot of people have asked for a long time because we've not had it since that Toys R Us 2-pack. But I didn't see it just being dropped in a wave. I thought they would do something bigger with this. I thought that they would maybe redo the 2-pack, or I don't know, just something. So I was really, really surprised that this was just it's a figure in a wave.
Admittedly, I do like this one because I do like the red being more lighter. The other one's very dark and metallic, so I do like the fact that this is more in keeping with the sort of comic book accuracy version. But
yeah. And nice. Obviously she's not got alternate heads and stuff, whereas the Toys R Us one did come with three, I think it was three heads.
Yeah.
But for those that haven't got it, perfect, absolutely perfect. She's a really, really great figure. And she did. There's a couple of comments there saying about that it sold out really quickly, and she was one of the ones that sold out very, very quickly. Understandably, because she's been asked for by so many people. I think even people in the pre-show were talking about hoping for a Dark Phoenix. I'm sure someone said that in one of the VTs. So yeah, Dark Phoenix is coming. Happy, and I've got the Toys R Us one, and I wasn't upset by this. Sometimes when they do re-releases, I'm a little bit upset because, it will make the one that you've got not as special.
Yeah.
But with this, I was really pleased because she was different enough that, they are very different figures. So yeah, I was happy. I wasn't too bothered about that. After Dark Phoenix, we got Avalanche that we talked about earlier. Brotherhood of Mutants that we've been waiting for an Avalanche. We've had Pyro, we've had Magneto, we've got Mystique, and they kind of listed all the team members and done the whole, are we missing anyone? Is there anyone that we're missing? And we all know that they're talking about Blob. Blob's the one that we're missing now. So that will be a Build-A-Figure without a doubt. And I quite like this, although the first thing I thought was it looked like a knockoff Peacemaker figure.
Yeah, it does.
After watching Peacemaker, and absolutely loving it, when it popped up, I was like, oh, it's like a Poundland version of Peacemaker. Poundland Peacemaker. But I'm really pleased that they've done an Avalanche, and I'm looking forward to putting him in the collection with the other Brotherhood Mutants. And then I think the best one, without a doubt, the one that got everyone talking was Spiral, finally. And we kind of knew she was coming based on the Mojo box set, because everyone was like, why is Spiral not in that box set? Like, how have we not done Spiral? So I think everyone kind of assumed that she was coming. And she looks pretty similar to the figure that we had already.
Identical.
It's just a different head.
Yeah.
Just an
So
updated
a new
head.
updated head sculpt. All the weapons look identical to the one I've got.
Yeah.
And then just the gold pieces, I think they're additional. I don't remember having them with mine, but they just may have been missing from mine because I got mine loose.
But they're all weapons that we've seen on other figures.
Yeah.
But this to me was again, I thought that they would do it as a deluxe or something. And I think that with all the hate that Hasbro's getting because of money, and like even we've said the Iron Man figure is ridiculously expensive. But then you look at this is a deluxe figure. Like this is a deluxe figure because it's got additional arms, it's got additional weapons, additional hands. Like they could have easily put a higher price tag on this and people would have paid it.
They could have done with Phoenix if they had just put the other two heads in it. They could have easily released that as a deluxe, and they could have made a lot of money out of Phoenix because a lot of people would have bought it. So to go ahead and release her on a card back for $24.99, standard price.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised that she sold out so quickly.
Yeah.
Just quickly before we carry on with the others, because the rest were kind of like pipeline reveals. In the comments there, someone's mentioned. I missed who it was, but mentioned that the Wakanda Forever Ironheart has popped up as well as the Mojo. Stephen, but thanks, Stephen. But that was kind of announced after they went live because they went live on Pulse and the retailers like In Demand and Comics Cocktails and stuff. And then the guys at Hasbro kind of tweeted about it and messaged about it. Oh yeah, these have gone live as well. But I'm shocked that they didn't mention it, and I wonder whether it's because of the leaking element of it. So because Ironheart was leaked and because Mojo was leaked, they just decided to not bother.
They seem to be on a really strict time thing as well. I think they only had so much time to reveal what they could because it did seem like every stream somebody mentioned like, "Oh, I've been told to hurry up a little bit. We're running over." It's this is your own stream. It's going out on the internet. How are you running over? Just do it till it's done.
Yeah, no, that is very true. Then quickly, there was just a couple of others that we haven't mentioned. Storm and Banshee in the team suits. So we'd seen the Wolverine, and then they announced that they were coming, but they didn't mention how. I'm guessing a 2-pack at some point, and then maybe even a 2-pack where they've got like what they do to Quantum suits, a 2-pack with a handful of additional heads, and then just get loads of people to buy multiples. That could work potentially. VHS Cyclops. So they rounded out the VHS collection with a Cyclops figure, which was a bit like I'm over Cyclops now.
Cyclops,
that Jim Lee blue Cyclops from I can't remember what wave it was from, but so many people wanted it, and then they did the Love Triangle 3-pack with the jacket, and now it's just kind of like, okay, giving us another one. You've once again made something that was quite rare and people enjoyed chasing after, just very accessible, and released it multiple times. And then the only other figure that they announced was Strife. Like out of nowhere, Strife. Where is he coming? I can't remember. Did they mention where? Or is it just a pipeline reveal that they just said coming at some point?
They just said that last time they revealed him, he was obviously a Walmart exclusive and he was really hard to come by. This time they're going to mass retail him, so he's coming in a wave at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if he popped up on one of the retro card backs, to be honest.
Yeah, that would work. Maybe as you do
like. They're doing Banshee as well, aren't they? Banshee was mentioned, so.
That's what I said about Storm would be in the 2-pack room.
Unless they just release all those on card back. They're the next 3 or 4.
The Strife figure though was in the original Toys R Us waves. It was the
original
Jubilee Builder figure, and it was literally a 5-figure wave that was exclusive to Toys R Us, and it was around the time when Toys R Us over here was getting quite sporadic, so it was really hard to get in the UK. I did have a Strife, and I sold him about a year ago, so I'm really pleased that they're re-releasing him. I'll quite happily pick up an updated one for 25 quid or whatever. And then there was only one other thing, which was the first appearance Star-Lord that they revealed on another video, and said, kind of go and watch our video and you'll see it, and potentially another exciting wave ahead of it. But then any other thoughts on that Marvel wave?
it was what it was. Nothing. A bit like the Star Wars one. It was like there were plenty of stuff there, but just nothing that really.
No.
I think I've got to the point now where we've been collecting for so long that we're kind of seeing everything come back around now. From the time that we've been collecting, the stuff's coming back around again. So we're starting to get that fatigue now, I think.
Yeah, 100%. So then, just before we do round off the show, we have got to just discuss the Selfie Series, because that's not available to us over here in the UK, but they made a big thing out of it on Hasbro Pulse Con, and I wasn't impressed. Like,
they don't look that good.
I don't mean to be negative, but they did not look very good. If you've got any kind of facial hair or hair, they're not very good. Like, if you're bald all over, probably turn out quite well. But for me,
like
I've got long hair and a beard. It just
The guy on the Star Wars panel, I forgot his name. He's bald, and he just looked like Miggs Mayfield. It looked like a Miggs Mayfield head.
Yeah, it was Dwight's one on the Marvel team, and it was just kind of like that one to me. I was like, what? Like, no, like these are not worth $80. Like,
and the fact that you take a scan of your face and then you can edit it anyway to change the hair, the beard. You have to edit all that separately. So it's not really your face. It's a generic face and you're just customizing it.
You know what it reminded me of? Do you remember the old WCW kind of NWO games on like the N64, like where you could build a character? And we'd all try to build ourselves, but you had to use the generic. You've got a choice of like three or four different face sculpts and 3 or 4 hairstyles, and you'd build something that resembled you if you squinted. And that's kind of how I feel. Yeah. Oh, yeah, go. That Rich just said as well in the comments. They're built on resin, so they are proper fragile, and you can't take them off. I didn't know that you couldn't take them off.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah.
See, that's a real kick in there. I suppose if it's resin, then I'm
pretty sure there's
mentioned as well, fixed in place. That's a big disappointment.
$80 for what? 70. Yeah, but $80. So we're talking what? 70 quid. You could. I'm pretty sure there are people online that can do 3D face sculpts nowadays. I'm pretty sure I've seen some YouTubers do it. Mate, I mean, you can get it done pretty cheaply now.
I've got a shout out to Rdj Custom Creations, because he did it. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he did it for a while. And he did my one. I'm going to get it out again. I love it.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. He did my one, and the camera doesn't do it justice, but it looks a lot more like me than the ones that they put on. But what I really like about it is that it's like the hair and everything, like there's texture to it, and like the beards off the face and stuff. So it's not just a flat print. So there are people out there that can do it and can do it better. This is really showing my age here, right? But the one thing it really did remind me of is that, do you remember when the O2 was called the Millennium Dome?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when it first opened, there was this Millennium Show, and I was only quite young. But it was all these things, and there was loads of kind of like space age kind of things going on. So like you could buy pencils that were made out of plastic and like recycled plastic, and there was a scan thing, because the Sims was really big at the time as well, and you could go in this booth and it would scan you, and then you got like a code that you had to put in on the internet, and you could put yourself in the Sims. But it was so kind of early 2000s graphics that I had like blonde spiky hair at the time, and for some unknown reason I wore like a sleeveless top to this Millennium Dome thing, and I had like one little tattoo on my arm, and it scanned me, and it was the most embarrassing thing to have. But that's what these Selfie series remind me, that it looks like the technology is not quite as up to date as it should be, if that makes sense. And it's a shame, because I do want it to be good, because I think it's great for an action figure collector to have an action figure of himself, but to put them at the price tag they have when they don't look incredibly good, and as people have commented, they're fixed in place and not swappable. Because one of the big things for me was, if you like with my one, I pop the head off, I can put it on anybody I want.
Yeah,
so
that's what the Selfie series should have been, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they're not. That's terrible.
No, you want to be able to buy. I would rather buy a head like with the 3D printers, you know, the guys that do it, pay for the head, get rid of the body. Like, just pay for the head, reduce the price down, nice little box, get the head, job done, happy days. But hey ho, hey ho. So
let's end on some positive news though, because we did get some good stuff as well. Because obviously at the moment we are in the middle of October. Spooky season is upon us, people. So NECA are doing their 31 reveals in 31 days, similar to what I do. NECA are revealing new things each and every single day to be spooky. And they revealed a new Universal monster yesterday. They're a little bit behind us, obviously, because they're in California time, so they're on Western time, is it? They're on like the other coast, so we'll see day twos like tomorrow morning when we wake up. But this is day one. And they've revealed the Phantom of the Opera is coming to the Universal Monsters line. That's one that I've been wanting for a while. So yeah, this is the original Phantom. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm happy about that. And obviously they'll reveal, over the coming weeks, they'll reveal the packaging and what accessories will come with it and stuff like that, whether we'll get his mask and stuff, which I'm sure we will. But yeah, that looks stunning. That looks stunning.
It does look good. It does look good. What did you do on your first Halloween day, quickly, while we're loading up the next one?
So on my first Halloween day, I did the WandaVision statue.
Yeah.
Which was from Beast Kingdom, which is awesome. And then today I've just revealed the R7 Fang, the Builder droid from Disney. This year's Halloween droid.
I wanted you to plug it a little bit. I just think it's a really cool little show you do.
And then tomorrow I'm looking forward to doing Darth from Stranger Things.
Yes. So the next,
this came out yesterday. This is the big one. I got so excited because this one came out yesterday when Jacob allows it on screen. There we go. So this is Mythic Legion's Headless Horseman. This dropped yesterday and it broke the internet. People were this was selling out left, right, and center. They did 3 drops yesterday. First one sold out in like 10 minutes. The second one sold out in about an hour. And then when I was sleeping, I got a message on my Instagram from Mythic Legion saying, yes, we ship worldwide and we've just dropped another shipping. So I instantly woke up at like 3-4 o'clock this morning. I was like tapping mid details and I've managed to secure one. So
I could tell you're excited. Because you messaged me at like 4:30 in the morning. I like literally woke up in the morning and I was like, "Jeez, okay? Like, what's up?" Like,
when we last spoke, you said, "Yeah, let us know," because so I assumed you were like going to dive in on one or something, or you wanted the horse or something for your Marvel stuff. So I was
have you got another picture of it? Because
no, it's just that one at the minute.
This is the product picture, but there are other images out there, aren't there? Like of just because the horse, the detail on the horse alone is stunning.
The amount of detail in this whole thing, and it comes with the little thing to put in his neck, so it looks like he's got a 7 head. Then there's 2 versions of the pumpkin head, one of which has got the flame thing attached to it. The hand has got like a little nub on it to put the head on, so it's secure, so it doesn't fall off.
Yeah,
because that's the main thing. Obviously, you want to put it in his hand.
Yeah,
and that's the way of securing it, so it's not going to fall off. And the cape has got wires in it.
Sorrell pre-ordered.
Not a pre-order. It's in stock. And I'll have it in hand in 5 days.
Yep, it wasn't
from America.
It was a purchase, so that's fine. I must admit, it's an insane figure. I couldn't justify the price tag myself, just because it doesn't fit in with my collection. But if I just had,
$170, it worked out at, so like 150 quid is what it worked out at. But yeah, I had to get it.
If it fit with, I'm kind of glad that it didn't fit with my figure, my collection, because this would be a really tough one to pass over because it is just so brilliant. And that horse alone would work well with so many figures. Like, you know, we talked about Ghost Rider earlier. We're going to get a caretaker figure at some point. There is no way we are going to get a horse that good with it, or a horse necessarily at all. But that would work so well with so many different. Like you could have Loki on that horse. You could have the caretaker. Like there's so many characters you could put on that horse alone.
So there's a YouTuber that got the exclusive reveal for this. He does all Mythic Legions on his channel. It's called The Dork Lair. and he did a review of this for the day of release. And the best part is the tail is like strong enough, and the back two legs are strong enough that you can book the horse and it will stay, and you can use the tail as like another little kickstand at the back. So you can actually have the horseman with the pumpkin like lifted up in his hand, booked horse, so he's all like lifted up, and then the cape has got wire in it, so you can have it all like swoosh. So it just
but I think that is an example of doing it right. You know, doing the figures right. It's got all the right things about it. It can do all the things that you want it to do, and the price tag isn't ridiculously high for what it is. You know, in today's kind of market, it is
for the horse.
Awesome
for the horse and the figure, the fact that it was 120 just for the figure and the horse in dollars. That's like what, 105-ish, £100.
Yeah,
for them two, that's not too bad for what you're getting. The amount of accessories, and the horse is quite large.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is a decent little set.
It's just stunning. It is absolutely stunning.
But
yeah,
as you know from today, I'm kind of all in now. I'm kind of all in on Mythic Legions now.
I'm wondering whether I shave back some of the Marvel collection and go for the Mythic Legions, just because they're a line that is definitely pulling me in.
Well, the thing is, for me, obviously, I do the horror stuff, and like all the vampire queens and all these like orcs and goblins, they kind of fit in with the darker. Like, you could stand some of these characters with your Draculas, your werewolves, and they all fit together.
Oh yeah. No, that's awesome. What a figure to end the show on. But yeah, there we go. We've done a live show. So like we've made it live. So
we made it through.
This is the format that we're going to follow for moving forward. I think it's just cool to be able to obviously interact and discuss things with people as they go on. There's been loads of comments as we've been going on, so I'm glad that people have been able to talk to each other on the comments and the chat and stuff. Thank you very much for obviously tuning in and chatting along and all that kind of stuff. We will get better with responding to comments and stuff like that. We're developing. But next week it looks like we might have a special guest, so I'm excited for next week because Ryan is still absent. Ryan is not here next week. I actually think next week is when he is at Secret Cinema. He is going along to the Guardians of the Galaxy Secret Cinema, which I am going to later on in the month as a guest of Secret Cinema. And I'm going in on my costume. Like, I don't do cosplay, but I've done cosplay. It's, so, but no, we really appreciate everyone tuning in. So, same time next week, we're going to do it. Obviously, if you don't already, you can follow myself and Sorrell across all of the standard channels. I'll whack all the links in the description of this video once we're done. But yeah, anything you want to say live, Sorrell?
Just thank you everyone that's come over and watched. I mean, there's some of my usual people in here that follow me on mine, which is like Stephen Butler, Stuggy. Thank you very much, man. Richie, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Really do appreciate you all sticking around and having a chat with us for the course of the last 90 odd minutes.
Yeah. And as I said, we will only get better. So we'll get better with responding and sharing stuff. Yeah, no, it's a good show. We will see you next week. Make sure you tune into Sorrell's channel because he will be doing his 31 Days of Horror. Look, Stephen's just beat me to it. We'll be tuning into Sorrell's 31 Days. Yeah, do it. If you don't already, do check it out because they are really cool, especially with this Halloween time of year. And I'm going to go and watch Hocus Pocus so we can chat about it properly. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, everyone. Till next week. I don't know how it's going to work with a live one, but yeah, till next week. Keep it geek. And we're still on. Keep it